Hey there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Glad you're here, and today I'm going to be starting a new series of walkthroughs for Ocarina of Time. Last year I did a dungeon guide on this game where I just took a look at the individual dungeons one after the other, but of course that did not cover anything in between, and that's what this series is going to cover. So this video here is going to be what I call the Deku Tree Approach video. The Deku Tree, of course, is the first dungeon in Ocarina of Time, and this is going to show you how to get there. And then after this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Deku Tree Dungeon Guide from last year, and then we'll just kind of continue throughout the game that way, and I'll just sort of fold in these, what I call approach videos, in between each of the dungeon guides. So anyway, getting past that, here we go. Basically what we need to do in order to get into the Deku Tree is we need to get a sword, and we need to get a shield. The first thing I'm going to be doing here is crawling through that little crawl space right there, and here we're going to find this giant boulder that's just sort of perpetually rolling around this sort of square spot on the map. And if you come over here, you'll find our first big chest of the game, and inside we will find the Kokiri Sword. And there it is. The Kokiri Sword is definitely going to be sort of a primary staple weapon for us as we run around Ocarina of Time. There, of course, is going to be many different items and weapons that we'll be using in all kinds of situations, but the Kokiri Sword will always be there for us, for the most part. And with that, we'll go ahead and leave this area. You may have noticed I was collecting any blue rupees that I found or saw in that little tiny maze area back there. And that, of course, is because the next thing we're going to be wanting to do here is buying a Deku Shield from the shop. And we'll take a look at where the shop is. But we will need 40 rupees in order to buy that shield. And there's rupees all over this area. But some of the different spots that I always visit whenever I do this part of the game is this building right here. There's 4 chests in here. And if you open up this, that specific one right there has a blue rupee in it. I think there is another green rupee in there, but I just went ahead and skipped it just because it's a single rupee, and I know of some faster ways to collect rupees. Other than that, I believe there's 2 hearts in those other remaining 2 chests there. Behind that little building right there was 1 more blue rupee, and then this right here is a really good spot to farm rupees, if you will. If you jump over those 3 blocks in the water there, you will get a blue rupee. And what's cool is if you leave the area, like if you load this shop and then exit and then jump over the stones in the water again, you'll get even more rupees. So you can actually just farm 40 rupees right here if you want, and I've certainly done that, where you just jump over the rocks, go into a house, jump over the rocks, go into a house, and you can just do that over and over. Aside from that, there was also that 1 blue rupee that was sort of hidden behind the counter inside the shop here. And between all of those, we were able to scrape together 40 rupees, and we'll be able to buy our Deku Shield now. And having collected those 2 items, those are really the only 2 things that we need to have in order to enter the first dungeon of Ocarina of Time. So once we get out of this pop-up screen, we'll go ahead and head off in that direction. And of course, I'll eventually equip those 2 items, because just having them in your inventory isn't quite enough. And we're going to talk to this dude over here. He's actually the reason why we need the sword and shield. He's essentially body blocking us here. If you try to step around him, he'll sort of like move and constantly be in your way. But now that we have the sword and shield equipped, he will reluctantly move and let us by. And we will eventually gain access to where the Deku Tree lives. But not before calling his names, I guess. Anyway, there he goes. Thank goodness. And we'll go ahead and head back here and approach the first dungeon now. And there he is, the Great Deku Tree, with his fantastic, glorious tree mustache. And he's going to give us a very brief explanation about what he wants us to do. And for the sake of the guide, I'll just go ahead and skip on through all the dialogue. That actually wasn't a very long cutscene, but some of the cutscenes in this game are quite long. But yeah, for the most part, he pretty much tells us that there is some sort of evil growing inside of him, and he wants us to go inside and take care of it. And that's pretty much it. I don't know, I kind of like how quickly Ocarina of Time gets going. Some of the Zelda games sort of take a while to sort of, you know, gain momentum. This one's like, grab a sword, grab a shield, and go inside the first dungeon, and you'll figure it out as you go. So I kind of appreciate that. So in any case, that was the first part of our approach guide. Thank you so much for watching. Coming up next will be the Deku Tree guide itself. Hope you stay tuned for it, and I'll see you in the next one.